Hello everybody, welcome to the newest edition of Medfield People. My guest today is someone that probably most of you haven't seen before. He didn't grow up here, he didn't even grow up in this country. His name is Sudha, and we met playing bridge. And it's amazing how you meet people, but I met playing bridge with Sudha and his wife Sue, who lived down on Bridge Street. So welcome, Sudha.
Thank you, Anne, for having me here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your native country is?
India.
India, and your native language is?
Marathi.
Marathi?
Marathi.
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 Oh, okay.
So in India, I don't know whether you are familiar, but we have got at least 14 major languages.
14 million?
14 major languages and about 250 minor languages.
You're kidding me.
Yes.
You're not kidding me.
No, I'm not. And when I left India way back in 1968, we used to have 14 states, and they were divided into what language do you speak. So they are more like a linguistic rather than geographical. But over the years, I think the 14 states have been increased to almost 25.
Are the languages similar, Sudha, so that you can understand people from the next area over?
No, they are not similar
They're
at
not
all.
similar.
No. But in India, there is something that's called a national language, and that's called Hindi, Hindi, and that's spoken by almost 90% plus of the total population. So it's not that hard to communicate.
So in school, Hindi would be used?
When I was growing up, yes, but now English is a very common language. So the children, from the age of 4, they start going to English schools, so everybody knows English.
Wow. When did you start speaking English?
I started speaking English is much later in my years, but when I went to the 5th grade, that's when it was compulsory that you should start learning English language. So we start with A, B, C, D. I mean, the alphabets are way different than Indian alphabets. So we started from 5th grade.
Okay.
That means that time I think I was like 11 years old, and it took us 1 year at least to understand ABCD, and then they taught us how to read ABCD, and then we started writing ABCD. So it took us 1 year just the learning process.
Wow.
And then from 6th grade onwards, then they gave us some words, and as you grow up, there are different words, and they put a lot of emphasis, on the writing part, how the English is written properly, and much more than the grammar. Grammar was very important part of the learning process, and that's how we grew up. When you, I think here you say graduate from school, in India they don't say graduate, you just get a kind of degree in school, they call it, when we go in the last year, which was 11 years in school. And at that time, it depends. If you go to the college, as a science major or medical major or the engineering major, all that education has to be in English.
Jeez.
There are no Indian books in that, but if you go to some other colleges, then you have an option.
Are your teachers English people, or Americans or English, or are they Indians who have learned a language themselves?
No, they're all Indians.
All Indians?
Yes, way back in India, yes. So they all teach us all the subjects through English medium.
But words like Massachusetts, you've probably never even heard that word till you moved here, correct?
No, I haven't yet.
Did you have trouble saying words like that?
Once you come here, once you leave India and sort of come out. Actually, first I left India to come to Ireland. My first stop from India was in Dublin, Ireland. That's where I went to a Trinity College to do my PhD in chemistry. And at that time, it was very hard for me because to coming from Indian accents to the Irish accents, I was completely lost because they speak English in different accents, and
Yes, I do.
a couple of days, I just thought that nobody speaks English and I didn't know how to survive. But as time went by, I could understand their accents, and those are wonderful people, and I'm so glad I went there because everybody was so nice. And at the time, they didn't have too many people who came from India, so they were very hospitable, very accommodative, and I have still a lot of good Irish friends, and I keep in touch with them.
I'm very thrilled to hear that because I'm 100% Irish in my background. So it's nice to know that my ancestors, relatives that are still over there,
Yes.
were so friendly to you. That's great.
So that's why I think when I went back after my PhD in 1971, that's when I met my wife, Sue. And when we got married, a year later, we came back to Ireland again. And then from there, we moved to Ontario, Canada, before we decided to stay in the United States.
You really moved around then.
Yes, so I'm a world traveler.
And where were your children born? Here?
My older daughter, she was born in Ontario, Canada, and she lives right now in Newton. She married to her husband, whom I know, since he was 9 years old.
Oh, gee, okay.
And as it happened, that her husband's parents and we are socially involved, and they all went different way. But I think when her husband, finished his education, my daughter finished her education, they moved back to their parents and they started working in Boston. So they met in a green line and then developed interest and started dating, and then they eventually got married. So she lives in Newton. She has 3 children. Yeah.
And you have more kids than that, though.
No, I have only 2. The second daughter, she is married, to her husband, whom she met, at the James Madison University in Virginia. So she is now living in New York. She used to live in Somerville, but she thought New York is much more thrilling place, and she works as a copy editor in Ralph Lauren company in New York.
Okay.
And her husband also works at IT, but he's a writer. He already published 4 books, and a couple more books, they are in works.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they have children too?
No, they don't.
Just the older daughter has the 3 children.
3.
Yeah.
She's got 2 grandsons and a granddaughter.
And your wife Sue had an interesting occupation.
Yes, my wife Sue, Sue is her married name because the way Indian tradition goes, I don't know whether it's true anymore or not, but I am the youngest in my family. We were only 3 brothers, but now I don't have my older brothers anymore. I'm the only one. But the way the tradition was, the youngest son, when he gets married, his wife's maiden name has to be changed. So her name before the marriage was different. It's called Jyotsna, Jyotsna, and that was changed to Sujata, Sujata.
So the first name changes.
Yes, it was.
I never knew that.
No, but that's no longer true, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that was compulsory, and then I had to change her name, and I'm glad I did, because from Sujata, Sujata, we could condense it to Sue, which is very convenient for a lot of people. She is a physician by occupation. She worked in Medfield Hospital
Medfield State Hospital, that's right.
for over 25 years, and then she worked in a private practice also for 10 years in Boston. And 5 years ago, when my youngest daughter got married, she decided to retire from her profession because she has got many hobbies which she is really good at, and one of her major hobbies is gardening. And whatever she does seriously. She puts her heart in it, and actually our garden, is a state of art, and she keeps improving every year. And 3 years ago, her garden was also televised by the Medfield TV because they were really impressed, and it has improved. And then she has a lot of hobbies, like she likes to run different types of cooking dishes. Although she knows a lot of Indian dishes, she has also learned how to cook Western food because my daughters, yeah, they like both foods, but they prefer Western. One of the daughters
'Cause that's
prefer
where they
Western
live.
food
Yeah,
because
that's
they
where
are
they
born
live,
and
yeah.
brought up here, and they don't have as much taste for the spice food that we have. So she has learned how to cook. She is very, very good in knitting, and
knew she was a
I know that she took few tips from you.
I know she was a knitter.
Yeah, and she is really very closely attached to the family. Our grandkids really love her. They look forward to seeing her. 5 years ago, she decided to learn bridge. I have been playing bridge for almost 25, 30 years off and on. But 5 years ago, she took that passion and she took that seriously. And I'm surprised that she came up really well over the years.
Okay,
And
speaking
she's a
of-
good bridge player.
Speaking of bridge, what do you call that in your language?
This is a card deck in English, and we call it patte. P-A-T-T-E.
P-A-T-T-E. Pate.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about the numbers? I don't know how you count in your language either.
Yeah.
How do you count?
I'll count the number from 1 to 10, in my language. Again, I'm talking about language means I'm talking about my native tongue.
Yes, I am.
Which is Marathi.
But okay, Marathi.
So one is called ek.
Ache, okay.
2 is called don. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, now what would this be in Marathi? Marathi.
Ekka. Diamond ekka.
Eka, and that's a 4. Okay, how about this?
No.
How about
Sorry, I
that?
made a mistake. That's not ekka.
It's not it?
Diamond 4.
Oh, okay. You're new to that country. Okay, how about this one?
Kilwar Gulam.
Wow,
That means jack of club.
that means jack of clubs. Okay, let's
Yeah.
try another one.
Chaukat ekka. Chaukat is diamond.
Okay, and this,
And-
and oh, here's another ace. Okay, how about this one?
Badam Rani.
Oh my God.
Badam is heart
Yeah,
and Rani is queen.
queen.
Yeah.
What's the word for queen again?
Rani.
Honey.
Yeah. Ispik, that is spade. And ace is ekka again.
Now, is-
Ispik ekka.
Is this kind of a death card in India as it is in many countries?
It is same.
Oh, okay.
Cards are exactly same.
Okay, because sometimes I've been talked to people from other countries, and they say the ace of spades is considered a death card in many places.
Yeah, it depends upon what kind of games do you play. Because in India also we have got many card games, and one of the games they call is a death card.
Yeah, hearts is one of my favorite other than bridge,
Yeah.
because I grew up playing bridge from the time I was a little kid, and it was just fun doing it. How about the word king?
Kilwar Raja.
Raja?
Raja, R-A-J-A. Raja means king.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
I should have thought of that.
Yeah. It's funny because my elder brother's name was also Raja.
Okay, how do you say bid? Like I bid one spade. How do you say bid?
There is no equivalent word for bid, because bridge is not that common in India.
Really?
Yeah, people don't really play bridge on that wide. In fact, I learned bridge only after I came to Ireland. So bridge is not that common. They used to play. Maybe now it is common, but it wasn't when I left. So I don't really know what it is called in our language.
How about other card games like hearts? Hearts? Spades? You don't play hearts?
No.
It's one of my kids' favorite games of all time.
No. Then
I
in
doubt it.
India, they play different games. It's called rummy. Where you
Yep.
rummy, you put
Sure,
the
rummy we
sequence and all
play.
that. Yeah, but bridge it was not that common when I left. Maybe it is common now.
See, my kids grew up playing different card games, starting with fish.
Yes.
So you go 1, 2, 3, 4 around, and if you don't have the right number, you have to go fish side of the pile and try and get rid of all your cards. That was how they learned to count, I think, basically, was fish.
Yes.
And then I doubt it, where you had to put them down in order. If you didn't have the right card, you'd lie about it and put another card in.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
My kids still laugh about that. And hearts we play every time our family gets together. We all play hearts. The grandkids love it.
Yeah. And I was telling you about the Sue. I think why she is so good, because was her mom was just as good. And actually she came and stayed with us 3 different occasions. One time she stayed here for 2 years. And I have to yet to meet somebody who is as good cook as her mom.
Oh, really?
Her mom was a wonderful cook. She was a multi-talented woman. She passed away like maybe 6 years ago. She would love to work in the garden, and she was very, very neat and clean person. And Sue is just like her. She's exactly like her mom. Very passionate, very hardworking, and my kids were so much fond of her that one day, I think when her mom returned to India, and she just called once to Sue and told her, that she's not feeling well and she wants to see my daughter. And so Sue told my older daughter that her mom called and she wants to see you. The next day, they all left. My daughter did not really care where she is at school or what she is doing. She said, I want to see her, she wants to see her. They both left. So
good for them.
They were so much attached to her, and they were really happy, because a week after that, she passed away.
I'm glad they were there for her.
Yeah.
For them too.
Yes. So
what's a typical Indian dinner that she would have?
It is normally, some rice and some kind of typical Indian bread, that you make, and then a couple of spicy vegetables and some kind of what you call it is soup,
Okay.
Yeah. And people use some plain yogurt with it. So that's a typical Indian dinner. Yeah.
Because in other, when you go to other countries, there's certain dishes that you look forward to having.
Yeah. So there are so many varieties, but when we talk about vegetables in India, you get varieties of green vegetables, and you get it all 12 months a year. So we have got plenty of choice. When I was growing up, eating meat, was not that common, because it was not accepted in many houses.
Yeah, that I did.
Yeah. In my house, definitely it was never accepted. We were not allowed to eat meat or eggs. Or on certain days of the week, we were not allowed to even use onions or garlic in our house, because my mother was very superstitious, that she will make sure that certain days she will observe fast and you cannot use any onions or garlic or whatever.
Jeepers.
Yeah. And then she used to cook, of course, in the house all the time, and she will make sure that she has, her shower and everything else, and all the rituals done before she starts cooking. So she was very, very religious, just like my father.
Did the kitchens look pretty much like the kitchens do here?
When we were growing up, we didn't really have any kind of modern kitchen, so she has to make a what do you call it, the stove, currently using gas, and even the gas. Yes, the gas was also kind of at the time considered as a new one, but most people will use like a coal, to light up a stove and then cook everything on it. And before that, they used to use some wood also to burn the wood and make a fire. So it was hard. Yeah.
And you and Sue became citizens over here?
Yes.
How long after you arrived here did you decide to go to that?
Yeah, I think I came in this country in 1978 blizzard.
Okay.
That's the time we drove from Ontario to Boston. And when we came here, we were wondering, that we left Ontario because it was too cold to come here, and we ran into that 78 blizzard. And our first residence was in Chestnut Hill Apartments, and it was really hard, because my older daughter then was like 1.5 years old, and because of our blizzard, everything was shut down, and we had hard time, to get baby food for her bottles, and we had to walk like 1.5 miles with her stroller to get the food because the cars were not allowed. The cars were not even visible because they were all buried under that blizzard, and we had no phone because the day the phone company person was going to install the phone, we had the blizzard, so he did not come. So we had no television. We had nothing. Our furniture that I shipped from Ontario never arrived here because of blizzard. So it was really hard
Yeah,
time.
and it was.
Yeah, because we had nothing to hold on to.
But when you decided to go to become an American citizen, wasn't that pretty hard to say, I'm turning my back on my native land and walking into a new one?
No, it was not.
Really?
Not that hard, because we knew that becoming a U.S. citizen is not going to change anything, because you can still go to India or go anywhere in the world for that matter, and there is a large community, Indian community in the Massachusetts area or even in New England, and not only that, the people who speak my mother tongue or any other mother tongue, they all have their separate communities. And at the time we moved here, we had at least 100 families who could speak our language. So we didn't really miss out on anything. All that we had is a piece of paper.
Yeah, but it's just
That
it's kind of an emotional thing to me. I can't imagine moving to another country and saying goodbye to the United States. I'm going to be Indian or English or Irish or whatever for the rest of my life. It would be hard.
no, it wasn't that hard, because at the time they are still working on it. They wanted to establish something like a dual citizenship, so you can have, Indian as well as U.S. citizen. But I think that's still in works. But my older daughter, actually, she still is Canadian as well as American. They do allow dual citizenship, and I think the Indian government is working on that. But recently, 3 years ago, they started something that's called the Overseas Citizen of India. So they give us a card which is like a green card here.
Okay.
So you have all the privileges except that you are not allowed to vote in India. And it's not likely that we'll go and vote there because we are so much away from Indian politics, so we don't really know who will vote for.
Well, but do you vote every time?
In this country, yes.
You do? And you're
Yes.
all ready for the election coming up in a few weeks?
Yes, we are ready for it.
Including those referendum questions that are...
Yes.
I talked to Roberta at the center and said if I had known people would be talking about them so much, I would have suggested that maybe for one of the dinners they have somebody on, either get two people or get somebody that doesn't really care, just explain all those issues, because they are 4 big questions.
Yes.
And almost every group I've been in,
Yes.
people are talking about the questions. What are you going to do with question 2, the bottle bill? How about question 4 with the paid leave?
Yes.
Great, interesting questions.
Yes, yes. And we really look at those questions carefully, really sort of analyze those things, before we vote yes or no on those questions. So we do vote every time, this opportunity to vote.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's our duty, and that's why you become a U.S. citizen.
And you vote in the local elections too?
Yes.
So in your native tongue, can you say to the world, Ann Thompson is the best selectman ever?
Yeah, well, I can say that, but that I would be lying, No, I am just kidding.
Oh, I'm going to get you.
No, I'm just kidding, You are the best selectman. Not only that, I really love Medfield community.
I do too.
And I'm glad that we decided to come and live in this town. It's a small town. It's a great school system. My both daughters, they went to the Medfield school system.
My kids did too.
My older daughter, she is a very athletic, very multi-talented, and I'm really proud to say that when she went to the high school, the girls volleyball team, was never in the picture. But when she went to the school and as a high school senior, Medfield school under her leadership, they won the championship.
Wow.
So she brought her team to totally different level. She was selected in the all-star team as a captain.
That's great.
And she was playing basketball. She used to go skiing.
And what was her first name?
Sangeeta.
Sandita.
Sangeeta, Sangeeta.
Okay.
And she was very good in tap dancing. She was very good in ballet dancing. My other daughter, she is not so much athletic, but she is very involved in the running. And even after 5 years of marriage in New York also, she finds time, she practices, she goes running almost 3-4 days a week. And she ran in the Florida Marathon.
Wow.
Yeah, she goes by herself. And she wanted to run in Boston Marathon, but she could not qualify herself. She missed it,
She's probably seen my son John has run in more marathons than I can count, and a triathlon also. But he loves the marathons. But
Yeah.
his knees are beginning to look a little shaky, so I think he's probably going to stop running in the marathons at this point. But
Yes.
they're a great thing. But high school sports, to me,
Yes.
I just think it's marvelous. I
Yes.
love it. I love going to the games. I still do, and I'm glad I have grandkids here in the school too. But it's fun to go to the games, to go to the team events.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very easy for me, to get ourselves involved, with the Medfield community or any other, because we traveled so many places that we met all different kinds of people. So we never really felt that we are, out of our own community. And as I mentioned, we had about 100 people, who speak our language, and that number has grown almost to 300 to 400 families now who speak our language. There is a community here, and that's called a New England Marathi Mandal. Marathi is again
Okay.
the language that I speak.
Right.
And I got involved in that Marathi Mandal in 1984, once I decided that I want to stay here. And then in 1994, I think I became a president of that community. And in this community has got a convention every 2 years. There is a central organization. It's like a federal government.
Okay.
And all the local communities, every state has local community. So that's called all state, like a state government. And they ask community to raise a convention so that you can present a lot of programs in our languages. And that convention never happened in Boston area until 1997 when I was the president. And they asked me, to do this convention in 1997. And I stayed that convention at the Heinz Auditorium in Boston.
really?
Yeah. And that's like almost a 1 week event. And we had 4,300 people came from various parts of the world. And I was very fortunate that the chief guest for my convention was the leader singer from the whole world, and she never goes anywhere, and she decided to come as a chief guest.
Wow.
And I was really honored, to have her. And the reason why I got her, because her brother is also a leader singer.
Oh.
And I invited him to sing in our community events, and he came and stayed in my house here in Medfield for 3 times.
Great.
And only way I could get his sister, this lady, to come as a chief guest is only through him.
Yeah.
So when I went to see her, in India, when I was there, and she said that she respects her brother so much that she said if he says I have to go, I have to go. So she came here at no cost to me.
Wow.
So she came at her own cost, and people were thrilled to see her because nobody gets to see her that much.
Wow, that is great.
Yeah, and it was a very well organized convention. We had a lot of famous people, who don't normally go anywhere. They all came, and although this convention happens every 2 years, even today, it is known as the best ever organized
That's
convention
great. Good for you.
in Hines, and I really feel proud. The last convention was in Rhode Island. That was the second time it was done in New England area, and the people still talk about Boston Convention at
That's
stage,
good. That's
and I
great.
feel good about it. Yeah.
When you go back to India, Sudha, do they think you talk funny now? Do they think you have an accent?
No, in
No.
fact, it's just the contrary, because people in India, particularly younger generation, they like to talk more English, and they just feel funny that when you are living outside India for so many years, how can you speak so fluent Marathi? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I would have thought after all that time you probably had a little accent there.
Yeah. No, they are all very happy that we haven't forgotten anything. And when we go there, we stay there, like one of them. And sometimes it's hard, because you are used to different society, different way of living, to again go back.
Yeah.
And but me and my wife, we never really complain, and we accommodate ourselves, because when we go, you go only for limited time, and your family, we both have our families, and they work very hard, to do everything that they can, and we feel good when we go there and talk to them. And in fact, last time when we went, I took my niece and her husband, and we all went that Southeast Asia trip for 2 weeks. So now we are happy we go for trip, but we don't go as often as we should go, because we like to travel at different places.
Yeah, well, there's the whole world to see.
Yes, and a lot of family members, they come and go, in this country, so we get to see them. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, so you have no regrets at all about leaving your native country and coming here?
No, I
Not one.
don't really have any regrets at all, because it was really funny, because I was thinking that like 3-4 years ago, actually, my elder brother passed away, and people are scattered because India is a huge country, twice as much size as United States, and commuting is not as easy, like you take a flight or you take a train. People come from long distance. So although my brother passed away there, I was the first person who could go from here to reach there.
Wow.
Everybody else who lives locally, they came few days after me.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah. So although we are that far, you still can be that
still do
close.
it.
And now because of new technology, even yesterday I was talking to my sister-in-law on the FaceTime. So we get to talk to her, and we get to talk to everybody on the using the new technology, like Skype or FaceTime, and we feel connected. Yeah.
Can you say Medfield is the best town in the world? And can you say that in your native tongue?
Yeah. मेटफील्ड मध्ये राहायला मला फार आवडतं.
Okay, say it slower.
मेटफील्ड मध्ये राहायला फार आवडतं. सगळे लोक फार चांगली आहेत, आणि आम्हाला फारच आनंद होतो.
I just realized you could be cursing and I don't even know what I'm just trusting
Believe
you.
me that I will not.
I'm just trusting you. I thought of that after. I thought it's a good thing I like you. So I hope you're not saying obscenities there on the air. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Somebody will call.
Yeah.
They'll say, turn that guy off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming,
Yeah.
Sudha, and for talking
Yeah.
about coming here and your kids growing up here. And I hope you're spending the rest of your life here playing bridge with us.
Oh yeah, I'll continue to play bridge because we both really enjoy it. Then, as you know, we play Monday nights and then Tuesdays, and if they have any more days, we'll be happy to play.
No, I think it's great.
And thank you, Anne, for having me. And again, I'd like to thank Medfield TV, to giving me a chance, to talk to them. One more thing I like to mention, because of my daughters who went to school, we got to know, a lot of her friends and their parents and all that, and some of them actually used to travel with me to Boston when I was working at the Tufts Medical School.
Okay.
So we used to meet them in train and chit chat. So I never really felt, that I am at some strange place. I don't know anybody, and the feeling is growing actually, because I get to know more and more people because of Breach and all that. We always get new people there, and hopefully I will make a lot more friends over the time.
I hope you make some tonight.
Yes.
And can you spell out your last name for people that are trying to reach you?
Yes, my last name is Welankiwar, Welankiwar.
And it's a long word.
And,
I always know it's a W. That's about all I can remember.
Yeah, and I'm in the book, and Anne knows where to contact me. She has my phone number.
I certainly do.
I would love if anybody wants to come, and say hello, or have some social get together, or come and look at the garden. Well, it's a little late for this year, but next year, Sue is already thinking about what's the new things
for next year.
For new year, and then she reads books, things about new plants, new flower beds, and anytime anybody is welcome.
Okay, well, thank you, Sue, and thank you again, Sudha, for
Thank
coming.
you, Anne.
Production support provided by Medfield.tv. Access to our community.